Yo, all right. So I need to do this before we can even get rolling with the footage, just because it's the right thing to do. Okay. So the truth is that the last, I'd say, year or so, yeah, a little over a year, my training in terms of motivation just, I don't think it's been this bad since like 2008 to 2010, actually. What they have in common is the fact that it all derives from like injury. So be safe out there, folks. And I think I've discussed this before, but in July, partially tore something in my form, and it was at the point where like holding on to a leg press was kind of an issue. So talk about like feeling like I went to the gym and like, man, like my will was clipped. Like that's literally what it felt like. And it was hard because like I think prior to that, I think something that doesn't come off in my like training footage, because I think a lot of it comes from like almost a coaching perspective. Like as I go through my week, I try to teach, right? I try to leave you guys with something more than just like, oh, that's how it went for Bert. Something that you can apply to your training, to your situation. But come time to train, it's like I like to think of it this way, like I do, or myself this way as an athlete, is that like I am a freaking dog and I am going to like get to it. Like I am there with almost like no plan B in mind, like, you know. And when you get hurt, like, man, like talk about especially, yeah, for someone who frames like competition and athletics in that way in their own mind, yeah, to get KO'd, you stand back up, but like you're you know, you don't have the same mentality going. So that's how it's been for the last year or so. And it got to the point that like my will to train was actually so low that I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna train these four days a week, 3 days off, 4 days a week. It's been years since I've done that, and a few things happened. Well, I've gotten a lot healthier, so the form is way better. Shows up on a few movements here and there, but usually just have to modify a few decisions, like, you know, but that's hardly ever an issue anymore. And 4 days a week has also allowed me to just like overall in general, like this is my 20th year of training. So we have a few roaming like things that, you know, pop up from time to time. Like they've been playing nice of late. And then also I think so recently, so we are still bulking, we're gaining, okay, but we did start a fat loss phase about a month ago, and like, yeah, it's been pretty usual. My off-season fat loss phases are loose. Like if I get the right phone call from a homie, it's like, all right, I'll go eat with you. Like it's, as long as 5 days this week we're good, that's plenty. I've been able to see like changes and like new things show up that weren't there before, and that's been very motivating. You know, it's like your first batch of gains when you first start out, right? So yeah, getting healthy, this cutting away. I'm still gaining, but I'm cutting just so I can start gaining again. You know, just because it's easier to overfeed a body that's 180 pounds compared to one that's like 195, right? It's easier to make 180 gain than make 195 gain. So yeah, like the mini cut is kind of like, it's like, oh wow, you were kind of, you know, running on fumes, but you kept showing up. I didn't miss a scheduled workout the whole time, where motivation was kind of And again, that's the difference between commitment and motivation, is that, hey, you know, if you're writing motivation, if you're not committed, yeah, you'll run into trouble at a certain point. So I was not motivated, but I was committed. Never missed a scheduled training session. I still went in there and, you know, I worked hard, and guess what? It worked, and I'm seeing it now. So I can't wait to finish off this fat loss phase, keep gaining until the year 3000, because might as well say that, because I don't know when I'm gonna compete again. Not until it looks right and I get a few things done in the weight room that would make me at a personal level just very happy. And yeah, so lost my train of thought there. But yes, things feel much better. When I get this going, like it feels that, yeah, my training's at its best when I am not only doing my thing, but I'm like teaching others along the way, so that hopefully I could leave or help leave this bodybuilding thing just a little bit better than how I found it. So anyhow, with that said, let's get on to this week's footage. It isn't much, but it's honest work. All right, there's going to be a lot of compound movements in this thing, and I think that's one thing I get a complaint about every once in a while on my Instagram is like the fact that, yo, Bert, thought this is bodybuilding, but those are the highlights, man. That's what I live for right now, because hey, these PRs are fun, but they're just not as white knuckling. It's not this sort of stuff is not the stuff that, you know, has you driving to the gym a little nervous. But I'll tell you what. So the forum thing that I was telling you guys about on this thing right here, man, boy, was I feeling it. More so like just burning deep in that muscle group that I wasn't there before. But again, at some point that scar tissue is gonna move, and that's gonna freak me out. It's gonna feel like it tore again. But we're good. So let's take you into other parts of the week. You know, fairly early in this training block, so we're not pushing too close to failure. About 7-8 RPE, more 7 than 8. So with the dumbbell presses, I've kind of actually sped up the eccentric a little bit, and that's because a lot of the obviously, you know, like a press, like there's a few things that have to go right in order to make that happen. The scapula, the humerus, a few things have to agree on what we're doing, right? When I've noticed, and this is something that same thing. It's been there all along in the past. Like when I have a slightly faster tempo on the eccentric, my shoulders just tend to do the right thing. I take too long, I kind of knock myself out of position. So thus the tempo. When the weight's heavier, it won't be quite as like zoomy as that was. But just so you know, Meadows row. It's another thing we've added recently. I absolutely love this row. Man, it's just so easy to get. Again, the same things, like all these things that have to go right that sometimes we forget on not just your presses but also on your rows. So the kind of the anterior humeral glide thing is something that I'm pretty predisposed to doing on certain types of rows. But with that one, super hard to do. Just feels great. This inverted row is still there, and I love this movement. I think for the longest time, like now with my athletes, like I let them know that's an option, but I don't push it on them because a lot of people don't seem to like this one. I love it. It's there's just so many cool things about it. Yeah, your torso is like chilling, but that bottom position, it's like you feel like your upper back is spread out. Your box can kind of be a certain height where it fits the strength curve. A bunch of things. Anyhow, so yeah, one thing that I've done is, that's my nephew Ryan right there. He's got a powerlifting meet coming up pretty soon here. So we decided to get a little lifting session. This was together. It's been a while since I've seen this kid too. He had pulls. I've been pulling a little bit of late, and they've been looking good, with the exception of this day. You guys can see this up on the gram. I was so out of position. I was having a hard time. Just having a hard time with having my hips mostly do the right thing. We'll sort that out. So anyhow, this was for 65 for sets of 7, and kind of risque here, but I feel that healthy. After these, I have 2 sets of good mornings. I'm just hitting 315s on the good mornings for sets of 5, and it's really just to keep that group, because I do feel people ask me, tell me about these good mornings, Bert. And I'm like, well, they're definitely, it's a good hip hinge. I think a lot of people have trouble with it. Like this will get you right. if you have someone teach it to you, right? Um, but yeah, it's obviously, hams, glutes. But another thing is I tell people it's good for your balls too. And what I mean by that is that it's just a lot of the inhibition that I had because of issues that I've had with my SI joint. Um, I think a lot of that stuff is healed up. It's just a lot of it's still stuck in my head. And when you can do this with 315, our best mark this off season was 385 for a set of five. Um, like you're just a little bit less fearless. Less there's less inhibition when you squat heavy loads because hey, you can pull it back and you kind of know. Yeah, it's done so much for this up here. And then the other day, Monday. This was Monday. This was a few days before that. I got to squat with both Jackson and Tyson. And again, sometimes you just need that young lifter energy, right? It's like they're brand spanking new, like eyes wide open, super optimistic about, you know, about super optimistic about just about everything at this point. And yeah, you can. I can certainly vibe off that. And not only that, all of these young men you see here, they totally just they trust me with their stuff. So when I tell them something, it's not that other old dude that comes across the gym. It's like, when I was your age, I was, squatting 600 pounds, and now I can't, take 2 plates to death because I hurt my back, and you will too. So yeah, I kind of sort of walk the walk. So they trust me with that, and yeah, I enjoy that role. So this was 465 for I hit a single that I based my volume work off of, and that thing just flew. So I had my side spotters, my hype crew was there. So I was like, all right, let's go for 485. But bars here, if I go over 460, I don't think it's not gonna happen in this gym. I love this gym, but yeah, it's just that thing right there just so threw me off. Even though I had them there, I just didn't want to risk hurting them or myself. So I'm strong, I'm healthy, having a good time in the gym again. We trained 5 days this past week. This was 395 for pause sixes. I feel like I just arrived to the point where this off season is getting good finally, and not only that, but again, things never go 100% according to plan, but there's lessons in that, and yeah, every rough patch. It's 20 years of training now, and in every rough patch I've gone through, there's something that I've learned that I've been able to use to better myself, but also to help out my athletes. So again, yeah, we're back. We still have a lot of bulking to get done, a lot of new PRs, and a lot of good stuff that's still to come. So anyhow, with that said, hope you guys noticed I got a new camera too. Tell me what you think. I also use the old intro just because I think that intro is hype, but at the same time I do need a new one. So if you guys know anyone out there who is good at that stuff, let me know. We'll end it with some leg pressing, and yeah, just with a cliffhanger. I'll see you guys here next week. If there's anything you guys want to see more of, just let me know. But hey, it's good to be back, and yeah, let's get this thing rolling one more time.